Stress and weight loss. We could probably talk about stress all night because, as I said earlier, it is in fact the cardinal cause of all disease. If you're under stress long enough, you're going to get sick from something. And you're usually going to get sick from something that is the weakest in your body. So if you have a weakness, say, in your digestive system, and you're under stress for prolonged periods of time, you might develop an ulcer. Where somebody else under stress might have a central nervous system weakness, and they might have what's erroneously called a nervous breakdown, or anxiety attacks, or whatever. It can manifest in various ways depending upon what weaknesses your body particularly has. In this instance, we're going to refine and limit our discussion to the role stress plays in weight loss. And what happens is you see, the adrenal glands, which sit just above your kidneys in your lower back, are designed to produce hormones which are commonly called the fight or flight hormones. They prepare you to fight for your life or run for it, whichever comes first, whichever seems the best out at the moment. Well, you know, our ancestors didn't have those little buildings with windows where you get hydrogenated cesspool cooked food in. They had to go out and hunt for it. And so when the provider of the family went out with his spear and club, he had to be ready for anything. Number one, he may have to win the fight for lunch. Number two, he may have to go home and face the family because there wasn't not going to be any lunch because he didn't catch anything. Or number three, he might become someone's lunch. So you get to the point after a while where the body says, after dozens of generations, I better do something to prepare myself for this situation. It's called the fight or flight syndrome, and that's caused mostly by stress hormones. And they come from, of course, the adrenal glands. Now, fast forward to our society. We still have the same hormones being produced, adrenalins. We still have the fight or flight response. That's why you meet so many people who are rather hostile. Well, they have other problems anyway. But we can't very often utilize those powerful hormones. So they're preparing us to fight for our life or run, and very few situations allow for that in our society. You know, beating each other up is frowned upon. It can even cause jail time. So you just don't normally do those things. You usually can't run from a situation because you're either at work or you're at home, and you just can't simply say, bye, I'm out of here. It doesn't really work in our society. So we have these powerful hormones and nothing to do with them. Well, when you have these hormones to excess, they produce a variety of very powerful hormones, one of which is called cortisol. And cortisol is produced as a result of adrenal exhaustion. So when your adrenal glands are firing these powerful hormones into your bloodstream all the time at every crisis, preparing you to fight or flight, and you don't fight or flight, it confuses and exhausts the adrenal glands. They go, well, I don't know what's the guy want me to do? And so after a while, they become very sluggish. And when they do, they start pumping out a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol's primary function, when it is produced to excess, is weight retention, especially around the midsection. Hips, belly, behind, that lovely region where we all go, well, how did this happen? And one of the reasons for that can be excess stress or cortisol production. When you go to a physician, guess what he's going to do when you're all wrapped up? He's going to tranquilize you. And for the moment, that's going to bring a lot of relief because now you're not going to be wrapped up, the butterflies are gone, you can sleep again. Your appetite will probably increase because you're not constantly wrapped up. Your metabolism will also decrease. Now, an increase in appetite and a decrease in metabolism is not what most of us want, because that's going to further contribute to that spare tire that cortisol is happily building around your midsection. Once you get depressed at your newfound body weight, your doctor is likely to prescribe an antidepressant, which will then cause your metabolism to go into complete hibernation, and you'll gain another 20 pounds. And then, of course, when all else fails, they'll send you to a shrink. We have a slightly better way of approaching this. You see, what I call the trilogy or trinity of good health: diet, supplement, and exercise. And virtually every single health problem can be improved, prevented, or even eliminated by the proper use of those three things. So exercise. Exercise increases chemicals called endorphins in your brain. That's feel-good hormones. That's what runners and joggers feel when they hit the wall. You know, they're ready to just die, and then they hit that wall and they go, wow, it's like everything's bright and they can just go forever. Well, that's when the endorphins kick in, and they're stimulated by physical activity. So exercise is very important for stress management. Diet. Please eliminate refined carbohydrates because there is a direct link between your adrenal gland function and your pancreas. And when your pancreas secretes excess insulin in the presence of excess refined carbohydrates, it lowers your blood sugar and causes the adrenal glands to panic. And they produce more cortisol. Targeted nutrition for managing stress include vitamin C, the B-complex, pantothenic acid, and a few organ extracts. This particular formula is one of the most popular that we have ever developed, simply because there are two kinds of people in the world, generally speaking. The kind of people who say, yeah, I got a lot of excess stress in my life, and the kind of people who lie and say they don't. And this works whether you tell the truth or not, by the way. Very effective for both groups. Honesty is not a prerequisite for the function of this formula, fortunately. I'm not suggesting that you use it for weight loss. It's not a weight loss formula. However, if you've got a lot of stress in your life, especially stress you feel you cannot manage, which is the worst kind because it plays with your head, and when your head gets played with, it starts sending signals to organs and glands to do things that you don't want them to do. But if you're in that situation and you use the stress formula, you will be very surprised to find out that you might start dropping weight again because you're going to inhibit cortisol production.